Hello everyone. I wanted to make a quick video addressing a question that I think readers of part one of the Wintrov Angel might have. And that is whether or not the Wintrov Angel is a fantasy. What genre of book is it? And the reason I think some people's minds might go to fantasy is because it's taking place in a fictional country, a fictional kingdom. And it's actually in conflict with another fictional kingdom. And when you have a setup like that, at least in the books that I've read, that usually seems to be pointing to the fact that it's in an entirely fictional world, right? Is it Narnia? Is it Middle Earth? If there's a fictional country, it has to be in a complete universe that's fictional. But that's not quite the case with this story. And so I wanted to explain what the kingdom of Forsha is, as well as Sadria, and how you can kind of interpret those two kingdoms as you're reading through part one and the subsequent parts. I wanted to read a little bit from a preface that I've been working on. And this preface is going to be at the beginning of the novel when it's complete. So you won't get it if you've bought part one or in any of the other parts. But when the book's all the way done and it's in its final complete form, I'm planning to have this preface in there. And so I just want to read a little bit of the section that's talking about this issue of whether or not it's a fantasy. So the preface says that the fictional kingdoms herein represented have to be imagined as superimposed upon our real world rather than existing in some fantasy realm. The story possesses few elements of what would commonly be labeled fantasy, and the readers will find that its characters share much of the same cultural and religious heritage that we do in the Western world today. Fictional kingdoms were chosen, again, Forsha and Sadria, so that I could have essentially a blank slate, a tabula rasa, on which to tell the story without it being hampered or wrested into a strange mold by true historical developments that took place in any one particular country. So if I'd wanted this story to take place in France, right, or in the United States, there would have been some things that would have had to have changed in the plot based on what time period it was in or what city it was taking place in. Not to mention it would have involved a whole lot of research into that chosen kingdom, the chosen country's culture. I would have wanted to make sure that it was historically accurate, right? And for the purposes of this story, it was kind of a waste of time. I wasn't really concerned with writing a book that would need to reflect the real world conditions or cultures and beliefs of America or France or whatever it was. So Forsha is a fictional country. It doesn't exist. The name, by the way, I kind of took it from, there's a town nearby where I live called Forsyth, and I really liked that name. It seemed kind of sort of rough and a little bit scary. It's got the imagery of like a scythe in there. And so I was playing around with that name and came up with Forsha. And that actually works because Russia sounds similar to that too. And I also had in mind the Scythians, which were an ancient group of peoples who lived kind of in the southeastern portion of Russia back in ancient times. The Greek historian Herodotus wrote about them. And they were sort of like a nomadic, barbaric people. So those two concepts combined in my head, and I came up with Forsha. So it's fictional, but you'll notice that characters will make reference to the New World, the Americas. They'll make reference to countries in Europe, and they'll also make reference to real historical figures. So in part two, you're going to get a look at Katerina's school curriculum. She's homeschooled essentially, but there's a list of books that her parents were teaching her out of, the same ones that they taught Lorelai and Adric out of, and they're actually a blend of real world books and fictional books. So you'll have Homer, the Greek poet Homer. You'll have Plutarch, who is a Roman historian. And then you'll have the fictional ones. There's Valmond's Fortune History, which is the history text that they read. And there's also a writer named Kindolf the Sadrian, who is essentially kind of a fictionalized version of a sort of a philosopher like Plato or somebody like that. But they're all combined together. So Lorelai, Katerina, they've grown up with their own culture, but they also have an understanding of the world at large. And the same thing goes for the time period. Exact years aren't mentioned in the book. Months and days are, so they still go by Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so on. And the months of the year are the same, but there's not a specific point in history where you could pin the story down and say, oh, it took place in 1753 or 1847. You can make guesses. So there will be some references made, references to the New World, place it after 1492, right? Because that was kind of when the Americas were discovered on the continent. There's also some references that'll come in part two and a little bit later to the Industrial Revolution. There's some references to a steam engine. So mid-19th century, maybe. But I'm trying to keep it vague so that you could put the story down roughly anywhere from the 1500s to the mid-1900s, like the early modern period. So look for those references as they pop up and take your own guess. I'd be curious to see where you think, as you're reading through the story, what time period it's taking place in. So there's this situation where it's kind of like an all time and an all place. But it's not a fantasy. There's not magic or elves or dragons or anything like that that's going to take place in there. It's historically accurate, but not located in history, I guess would be one way to put it. I am working on a map, which, like the preface, will probably come out in the final edition of the Wintrov Angel, although I might share it on this channel or on one of my social media pages when I have it into a pretty good shape. But the map will depict the Kingdom of Fortia and Sadria and give you a sense of what cities are located where. You should be able to follow along the story in the story without it, hopefully. If you can't, that would be really great to know. So please leave a comment or get a hold of me somewhere if the geography of the story is confusing to you, because then I'll need to go back in and make sure it's clearer in the reading. But there will be a map that'll come out, and the geography of the map, I don't think there's an exact correlation between that and any place on Earth, any place in the real world. Maybe there is. I don't know. I haven't perused the globe in a while and looked to see if the peninsulas and the mountain ranges and the rivers are an exact lineup of any one particular place. If they are, it'd be a coincidence. But I guess that would be cool too, to see if, oh yeah, maybe Fortia was over there in some weird part of the world like far northern Canada or down there in Antarctica or something like that. But yeah, that's essentially what I wanted this video to be about. I wanted to explain about Forsha and Sadria and what time period the story was taking place in. There's the steam engine reference. There's going to be one character who you'll meet a little bit later on that has like a revolver, like a six-shooter, like from a cowboy movie. And other characters are going to comment that that's unique, that's weird. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a new invention. It might just mean that in Forsha they haven't encountered that sort of technology or that sort of a weapon yet. Well, the Wintrov Angel has been out. The part one has been out for about a week now. Hopefully you get a chance to pick that up if you're interested. And again, I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts on that. I'm wanting to do a live stream kind of a setup pretty soon. I'll make an announcement when that happens. But yeah, hope everyone's having a great day, and I will see you all in the next video.